ordinary days, familiar routines, business as usual. It's when everything seems to be going smoothly and guards are down that both you and the mail are most vulnerable. Change the angle, and what might seem routine to you becomes an opportunity for a thief. They're always out there, looking for a chance to steal, to threaten your well-being, to violate and destroy. Don't let them get away with it.
There's so many transfer points, so many areas where items can get left insecure, we can lose track of items. Loads of places where people can have access, and it makes the whole business very vulnerable. I don't like that.
It was about 5 o'clock-ish. I was on my last bit. I collected from the sub-offices, and I was just coming through to the town collections. So there's 4 bags of mail from the sub-offices. It's, there's no registers or guarantees delivered, thankfully. And then I pulled into the sort of lay-by, and the box was about, couldn't have been about 3 yards from the van. I left the keys in because the radio was on. I was listening to something. Got to the box, and the next thing you know, the van was gone down the road with this chap waving out the window.
I had a phone call about 5 o'clock to say all hell had let loose. Chris's van had been stolen.
Well, I had one set of keys in my hand, and there's another set of keys left in the van because you don't take 2 sets out. Of course, they had gone as well, so that was a bit. That was a bit up the creek, really.
I first of all phoned up our investigations branch. I then phoned customer care. I phoned our DSM, our delivery service manager. I phoned distribution to tell them that they had one of their vans stolen. I phoned Faults to ask them to come and change all the locks on the post boxes.
I should have taken the keys out of the ignition. Normally you're told to take it out and lock the van up. But when you pull over and the box is just outside of you, you think, well, I could have been with that type of box a minute. You don't think it happened to me. There's so much traffic on the road, you get into a routine. And someone's going to watch you, you never know.
If everybody did as they were supposed to do, we wouldn't lose half the mail that we do. Because there's always somebody either just waiting on the off chance, or somebody that's been looking at them in advance, see that they're a bit sloppy in their procedures, follow them around especially.
The van was found the next day, actually with the keys left in the ignition, the keys for the boxes, all the mail had gone. Chris was reprimanded. He was taken off driving for 6 months, but he's now back on driving.
I lock the van now. If I'm out of that van, I lock it. Because if I'm out, no job for me if I lose a van again.
It was about 5:15 when I got back here from Ambleside. I had a lot of mail in the back of the van with a special bag, which I'd put at the back of the van, ready to be taken out first.
Loading bays are the most exposed areas where mail will be taken from one vehicle to another or into an office, and if anybody was intent on taking mail, taking a bag of mail or any particular item, then that's the sort of place where they could wait and where they'd have the ample opportunity.
When I got back it was a bit later than I usually get back, and the job was to get the mail out as soon as possible and to put it in the 600 van. So I got back, and the first thing I did was take out the special bag. All of a sudden, this person came towards me, and he said, "I'll take that for you," into the locker. It had to go straight to the locker. The normal procedure would be that I would have taken it myself, and sometimes I did take it myself, and sometimes I'd give it to other people. But I should have taken it myself, and I didn't. So this person took it, and he went in to the office, and the rest of the mail was unloaded. As I was unloading the other mail, I did happen to see the chap who had taken the special bag off me, put it down to one side, and sort of alarm bells started to ring at that point a bit. But I thought, oh well, he'll take it in a minute.
I went outside and saw that Andy had unloaded his van. I asked him, was he a bag from Ambleside? And he said yes, and he said somebody dropped it on the floor by the door. And the thing had walked. That was it.
It's vitally important that staff accept responsibility for the mail that's entrusted to them in their part of the pipeline. They are, after all, the people who are most able to ensure its security.
I felt responsible for it because I was the one initially who made the mistake leading to the bag going missing. So I did feel responsible. And I had a bad few weeks, worrying about it.
Now the van is overlocked at Ambleside and Windermere, and you can only get these registered bags out by coming to me for a key, so as that we can unlock the van to get them out. And then they're handed straight out of the van to me and they're locked away.
In this case, the threat came not from an outsider, but from within.
Somebody was seen leaving the yard, and inquiries were made, I believe, actually by the staff at the time, but no trace was ever found of the bag.
I'm a lot more aware that there's a possibility that people, even my workmates, who are willing to do that kind of thing.
We're supposed to be trustworthy on this job, and obviously there's somebody that is not when stuff's going, and it reflects on all the staff.
Nobody likes thieves. Some people say they're friends, but they're not friends at the end of the day. They're actually stealing from their work colleagues, so they're no friend of anybody.
Railway stations are a particularly vulnerable part of the pipeline. One day last year, an acting Royal Mail supervisor got a phone call.
John Redmond, Chief Chanter, gave me a call to say that one of the rail brakes had been broken into on platform 2. And I then made my way to platform 2. There's mail strewn all over the floor. We made quite a mess, 18 bags of mail, it's quite a lot of mail.
Temple Meads is one of the largest stations in the West Country, and as such it's an open station, open to every member of the public. Because we use British Rail a lot, our mails are there 24 hours a day, they're on every platform during the day, and unfortunately members of the public tend to take advantage of this. Sometimes it is pure opportunism, but I would have to say that a lot of it is carefully planned. I mean, our staff over at Temple Meads, it's their job to look after the mail, not to watch out for members of the general public. Who knows that the guy standing over in the corner isn't waiting for a train? You never know who is watching your movements.
It would be started loading about 3 p.m, but the actual brake is shunted over to form a part of another train at about 7:15 on the evening. So it was left unattended for quite a while.
They knew that the staff would then leave the brake locked up and go away, and it would be left unattended for a long period, albeit inside of a locked brake. But once they realised they could gain access to that, of course, they could be in there undisturbed for a fair period of time.
They could have used a screwdriver or anything really. They're very easy to get in, these old-fashioned type locks. They're old rolling stock.
I would think that they were obviously not professionals, because they wouldn't go for that sort of item. They'd be looking for something of a higher value, and they just got in there, opened the bags up. I don't really know that they got much of any value. It was just odds and ends and packets that they opened up. Of course, it's It's the damage that they cause in people's mail. That's the problem. Somebody from the railway actually saw one of the thieves getting out of the brake, and this person got out of the brake on the non-platform side and climbed down onto the trackway. And of course, straight away the railway employee realised that there was something up.
They actually witnessed the bags of mail going over the wall towards the embankment into the long grass area. And they then reported to the police in their head shanter, and they intercepted them.
You got a report of theft of mail bags. Are these yours? They're yours? Yeah. Right. We're arresting you on suspicion of theft of mail bags.
Well, I had a trolley pushing it down the road. On my way approaching the flat, I saw some guy coming up towards me. The way he looked at me and I looked at him, I felt a bit jumpy. So I carried on delivering. I think I've left the trolley outside, padlocked it up. And obviously if it's padlocked up, you don't think nobody's going to attempt to do it because they can't get in there. Took the bundle out of the trolley and went upstairs, delivering to Bentley Court. When I came back downstairs, I looked for my trolley wasn't there. So I looked up and down the road. So I ran down.
Oi!
Fortunately, I got the registration number, which helped us to catch the guys. Yeah, everybody's aware of what's going on and they've got to look after themselves. I mean, you can't really go out there and say you want to take on the world when you're delivering, but sometimes you do feel like if somebody was to come up on a one-on-one situation, you're going to have a dig. But if it's somebody like 2 or 3, you've got to give in to them and say, okay, you want it? There you go.
You know, I've lost family in the past, and I felt terrible about that. But this was almost as bad.
I had a couple of customers coming out, like, saying they'd lost mail and that. And I had to explain to them that that was the worst part, explaining to them that I'd had it stolen.
I was devastated. I went home to my wife and she thought, well, you better start looking for another job, I thought.
In all the incidents we've shown, losses to the mail were accompanied by upset, sometimes severe disciplinary consequences. In many cases, it could all have been avoided if the people involved had just taken a little more care.
The pipeline can never be totally secure, but if the staff take more responsibility, if people keep their eyes open and their ears open and take notice of what's going around them and make sure that they follow the procedures that are appropriate to maintain security, then security can be kept at an optimum.
What our postmen and women need to remember really is that they must be security conscious at all times. It's not enough just to think, oh, I've parked you 20 times before, it's going to be all right, because you can guarantee on the 21st occasion somebody's going to come round the corner when you're up the block of flats and they're going to nick your pouch. Or the engine's going to be running, you're emptying a post box, and somebody's going to hop in and drive the vehicle away. You must always be security conscious. It's the first thing to start with and it's the last thing to end with, really.